everyone, and welcome back to another Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled to have you here today because we're looking at something completely fundamental. Literally, the ground beneath our feet. We're going to explore the fascinating historical philosophies and the very real, practical applications of earth and mud therapies. Now, I know it sounds ancient, maybe even a little unconventional to our modern ears, but the historical record and the continuous use of these natural therapies actually reveal an incredibly structured approach to healing. So get comfortable and let's uncover the curative powers of the earth together. Okay, let's dive into this because, honestly, this is where the history gets incredibly wild. Just imagine suffering from a severe ailment, and the prescribed treatment is to be taken out into nature and buried in the ground right up to your neck. No, really. It turns out American Indians placed a massive emphasis on earth treatments. They believed that while healing power was strong in herbs and sure, powerful in the air, it was at its absolute peak in the earth itself. So they would bury sufferers for several hours, believing that the human body would naturally draw out the earth's healing minerals and even absorb some of its natural magnetism. It's a pretty extreme custom for sure, but it really sets the foundation for understanding just how deeply our ancestors valued the soil. And this belief wasn't just isolated to ancient or indigenous cultures. Moving into more modern times, specifically the last century, we meet a guy named Emanuel Felke. He was a German-born Lutheran minister who was affectionately nicknamed the Clay Pastor. Felke essentially brought earth therapies back into widespread prominence. He proposed that the forces of the earth have these remarkable vitalizing effects on the human body, especially at night. For things like wounds and skin diseases, Felke insisted that a simple application of clay, or moistened earth, was literally the only true natural bandage. His logic was beautifully simple. He believed the body should be repaired with the very elementary materials from which it's assumed to be made. Now, what's really interesting here is how another pioneer of nature cure, Adolf Just, took this philosophy to the absolute limit. Just believed that the serious nervous troubles of the modern age would be completely neutralized if people simply went back to sleeping or lying directly on the earth at night. He argued that this direct contact arouses the entire body from its lethargy to a whole new manifestation of vital energy. And here is where it gets highly specific and a little surprising. Just believed this energy effectively enabled the body to remove old, morbid matter and, yes, even masses of old feces from the intestines, filling the patient with a completely new, unthought-of vigor and strength. So this idea of direct contact naturally leads to one of the most accessible forms of earth therapy, barefoot healing. This wasn't just some fringe idea either. Going barefoot all day long was championed by modern nature curists as a way to draw vital energy and strength out of the earth directly through the soles of the feet. Even historical and religious figures like Jesus Christ emphasized going barefoot, commanding his disciples to do the same. But actually, there is a very surprising, highly specific warning for those trying this indoors. It advises that while you absolutely should go entirely barefoot on bare ground, if you're inside a room with painted floors, you need to wear sandals or chappals. Apparently, the paint on the floor adversely affects the body if you walk on it with bare soles. Who knew? Section 2. The power of mud packs. Let's see how this builds into an actual practical treatment protocol. Preparing a therapeutic mud pack is a very exact sensory process. You don't just go out and grab a handful of topsoil. First, the clay must be extracted from exactly 10 centimeters below the surface of the earth. That depth is absolutely critical. Next, you have to meticulously inspect it to ensure it's completely free of impurities, so no compost, no stray pebbles. Then, you mix it with warm water until it forms a perfectly smooth paste. You allow this mixture to cool down, and finally, you spread it evenly onto a strip of cloth. And the precision doesn't stop with the mixing. The standard dimensions for an adult abdomen pack are oddly specific, exactly 20 by 10 by 2.5 centimeters. Now, why the abdomen? Well, nature curists consider the abdomen to be the ultimate seat of most diseases, particularly all forms of indigestion affecting the stomach and bowels. Applying a perfectly measured mud pack right there is designed to decrease external heat and break up that morbid matter right at the source. So the crucial point is how this actually interacts with human biology. I mean, why mud over just a cold, wet towel? Well, the unique advantage of mud treatment is its ability to retain moisture and coolness for much, much longer periods than a standard water compress ever could. When it's applied, the cold moisture in the mud pack physically relaxes the pores of the skin. It then draws blood directly to the surface. This mechanical action relieves inner congestion, soothes pain, and promotes heat radiation, which helps the body eliminate that morbid matter we talked about earlier. Because of this powerful drawing and cooling effect, the list of ailments treated by these localized mud packs is absolutely incredible. We're talking about everything from bringing down the fever in cases of scarlet fever, measles, and influenza, to treating gout, rheumatism, and severe stomach troubles. Practitioners even prescribe these packs for neuralgia, diphtheria, eye and ear troubles, and sexual disorders. The standard protocol is to apply the pack for 10 to 30 minutes, and it's absolutely vital that the mud bandage is covered with flannel or some other protective material while it works its magic. Practitioners even use alternating hot and cold applications for chronic pains, intestinal cramps, and bacterial inflammations like amoebiosis. Section 3. Full body immersion, mud baths. Now, the preparation here is a massive undertaking. First, the clay is ground and sifted to remove all impurities. But unlike the cold abdomen pack, for a bath, the smooth paste is mixed with hot water. This warm paste is spread entirely over a large sheet, which is then tightly wrapped around the patient's entire body. To maintain that heat, 1 or 2 blankets are layered right over the top. The patient stays in this immersive sensory cocoon for 30 to 60 minutes. But the treatment doesn't just end when you unwrap them. The protocol dictates that the mud bath must be immediately followed by a cleansing warm water bath, and then, crucially, a short cold shower to shock the system and close the pores. The benefits of this large-scale application are incredibly potent, particularly for the skin and the circulatory system. Frequent mud baths are prescribed to tone up the skin, energize the skin tissues, and radically improve the complexion. Practitioners note it can even clear spots and patches left behind by skin disorders or smallpox. But it goes way deeper than cosmetics. It's reported to be highly beneficial in treating severe chronic skin diseases like psoriasis, leukoderma, and even leprosy. Plus, the deep sustained heat of that full body wrap is incredibly valuable for pulling out rheumatic pain or pain in the joints caused by old injuries. This really brilliantly illustrates the dynamic range of earth therapies. You basically have 2 distinct approaches. On one hand, you have the localized packs. These are your targeted, tactical treatments. They're all about relieving inner congestion in a specific organ, drawing heat out, and breaking up localized morbid matter. On the other hand, you have the full body baths. These are your systemic treatments. They're designed to increase your total body circulation, energize the entirety of your skin tissues, and combat widespread issues like severe rheumatic joint pain and full body dermatological diseases. Both utilize the exact same foundational element, the earth, but to vastly different physiological ends. So we've journeyed all the way from the extreme burial customs of American Indians through the philosophies of the clay pastor to the precise measurements of modern mud packs and full-body baths. It all comes back to a deeply rooted historical belief that the earth holds vital curative energy. Which leaves me with one final kind of provocative question for you. When was the last time you walked barefoot on the bare ground? Maybe it's time we reconsidered our daily relationship with the earth beneath our feet and the potential vital energy we might be missing out on. Thanks so much.